And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza. And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time on Spreaker Radio, Blog Talk Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide. I also broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio and Live 365 Radio every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day simply by clicking on that little icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. It's where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. Call directly into the studio at 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. Now, on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Now, today, my expert contributor is John Matthews with his Conservative Syndicate Corner. We're going to talk about the Iran nuclear deal. And my special guest is Sean Lefebvre in his Geared for Wellness Corner. We've always got good stuff to talk about with Sean. But right now, I want you to know that at 4:02 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently 90 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. But you know what? We got a lot of news and, boy, some just late-breaking stuff that we want to talk about. So let's get right into that right now so that you don't miss any of it. First off, the jury finds the Colorado theater shooter guilty of murder. Jurors convicted Colorado theater shooter James Holmes today in a chilling 2012 attack on defenseless moviegoers at a midnight Batman premiere, rejecting defense arguments that the former graduate student was insane and driven to murder by delusions. The 27-year-old Holmes, who had been working toward his Ph.D. in neuroscience, could get the death penalty for the massacre that left 12 people dead and dozens of others wounded. Jurors took about 13 hours over a day and a half to review all 165 charges. The same panel must now decide whether Holmes should pay with his life. The verdict came almost 3 years after Holmes, dressed head to toe in body armor, slipped through the emergency exit of the darkened theater in suburban Denver and replaced the Hollywood violence of the movie The Dark Knight Rises with real human carnage. His victims included 2 active duty servicemen, a single mom, a man celebrating his 27th birthday, and an aspiring broadcaster who had survived a mall shooting in Toronto. Several died shielding friends or loved ones. The trial offered a rare glimpse into the mind of a mass shooter, as most are killed by police. They kill themselves or plead guilty. Prosecutors argued Holmes knew exactly what he was doing when he methodically gunned down strangers in the stadium-style theater, taking aim at those who fled. They painted him as a calculated killer who sought to assuage his failures in school and romance with a mass murder that he believed would increase his personal worth. He snapped photos of himself with fiery orange hair and scrawled his plans for the massacre in a spiral notebook he sent his university psychiatrist just hours before the attack, all in a calculated effort to be remembered, prosecutors said. The prosecution called for more than 200 witnesses over 2 months, more than 70 of them survivors, including some who were missing limbs and using wheelchairs. They recalled the panic to escape the black-clad gunman. The youngest to die was a 6-year-old girl whose mother also suffered a miscarriage and was paralyzed in the attack. Another woman was 9 months pregnant at the time, described her agonizing decision to leave her wounded husband behind in the theater to save their baby. She later gave birth in the same hospital where he was in a coma. He can no longer walk and has trouble talking. You know what? Enough of that. I think we all hope that he gets what he's got coming to him. I sure as heck do. You know, it just has to be. Just has to be. Well, Greek banks to reopen after a cash pledge from lenders. Greece today won vital pledges of support from bailout lenders needed to keep its economy from collapsing, but officials in Athens said the painful austerity measures demanded in return were likely to force an election within months. Hours after Parliament approved the tough new cuts, the government promised to reopen banks on Monday and gradually restore services, helped by higher cash support from the European Central Bank. The ECB, or European Central Bank, announced it was increasing emergency credit to Greek banks, adding another 900 million euros, that's about $980 million, in support over 1 week. And Eurozone lenders pledged short-term loans so Greece can cover its debts and negotiations for a new 3-year bailout worth 85 billion euros, which is about $93 billion. The news buoyed world markets and came as a relief in Greece, where banks and the stock market have been closed for nearly 3 weeks. Officials in Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras' government, however, were still reeling from the contentious post-midnight vote that saw 1 in 4 lawmakers from Tsipras' left wing, the Syriza party, vote against the raft of tax increases, pension cuts, and other economic reforms. You know what? The thing is they can vote against anything they want. And doing tax increases, well, you know what? I'm not so sure how much that really helps, since Greece doesn't collect 89% of the tax that's levied. They need to get a system in there to start collecting it. You know, on the brink, European leaders clinched that bailout deal with an SMS. You know, as Dawn broke in Brussels yesterday, I shouldn't say yesterday, I say Monday, Europe's frazzled leaders gazed into an abyss, the looming exit of Greece from the common currency that symbolized European unity. Hours past a midnight deadline to clinch a Greek bailout deal, German Chancellor Angela Merkel and Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras were about to walk away from the table, exhausted from all-night talks filled with threats and shouting and ultimatums. A single text message rescued the talks and possibly the euro. Dutch Premier Mark Rutte, a hardliner on Greek reform waiting outside with other leaders, sent European Union President Donald Tusk an SMS proposing a compromise on the last sticking point keeping the two sides apart. For 3 hours, Merkel, Tsipras, Tusk, and French President François Hollande had been stuck in dead-end, closed-door talks, and the message suddenly made something click. Within an hour, the deal was clinched. Now, let's see what actually happens. This is simply a matter of survival, not just for the Greeks, but for the European Union as well. This is a big, big deal. And if they didn't bail out the Greeks, then you know what? You've heard me say it before. It was going to be Spain and Portugal, Italy, and Ireland. We're going to be right behind them. That would have crushed the European Union and created a havoc in world economies, not just theirs. Now, don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to talk about family question circumstances of a woman's Texas jail death. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we left, what I said was I'm going to deal with some more news here, and we're going to do that right now. Family questions circumstances of a woman's Texas jail death. Family and friends sought more details today about the death of a black woman whose authorities say hanged herself in a Texas jail after her arrest for allegedly kicking an officer following a traffic stop, saying the 28-year-old gave no indication that she was in such an emotional state that she would kill herself. The Texas Rangers and the FBI are investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of Sandra Bland of the Chicago suburb of Naperville. She was found dead Monday morning in a Walter County jail cell in Hempstead, Texas, about 60 miles northwest of Houston. Based on the Sandy that I knew, that's unfathomable to me, Bland's sister Sharon Cooper said at a news conference in Chicago. The death of Bland, a black woman who was in the process of moving to Texas to start working at the college from which she graduated, comes amid increased national scrutiny of police after a series of high-profile cases in which blacks have been killed by officers. Bland's death has gotten attention on social media with posts questioning the official account of her death and featuring the hashtags Justice for Sandy and what happened to Sandy Bland. An attorney hired by Bland's family, Cannon Lambert, said some relatives believe Bland was killed and the family wants more information from investigators. This family is really looking to understand what happened, Lambert said during a news conference. We don't understand this. It doesn't make any sense. Well, I can tell you, it really doesn't. Waller County District Attorney Elton Mathis said he had no information indicating Bland's death was not a suicide. If I receive information that there's something nefarious going on or foul play, we will certainly get to the bottom of that, he told the Chicago Tribune. I understand there's some disbelief among some friends and family that she would do this to herself. That's why it's very important that the Texas Rangers be allowed to conduct a thorough investigation. He said such an investigation is typical protocol when someone dies in custody. Well, we'll see what happens. A lot of people become really despondent when they're faced with the power of the law. So who knows? We really don't know what's going on. It could have been very easily a suicide. Well, Swiss extradite FIFA's Jeffrey Webb to the United States. Former FIFA Vice President Jeffrey Webb has been extradited to the United States following his arrest in Switzerland on racketeering and bribery charges filed by American prosecutors. The Swiss Federal Office of Justice said today the man was extradited a day earlier after 50 days of detention. He was handed over to a 3-man U.S. police escort in Zurich who accompanied him on the flight to New York, the ministry said in a statement. Two people familiar with the case identified the defendant as Webb and confirmed he has been brought to the United States. The people who spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss the case declined to disclose his exact location. Webb, who is from the Cayman Islands, was president of the CONCACAF, soccer's governing body for North and Central America and the Caribbean, and a FIFA vice president at the time of his arrest. A total of 14 men, 9 soccer officials, and 5 marketing executives were indicted by the United States Justice Department in May, including former FIFA vice president Jack Warner, who was resisting extradition from Trinidad and Tobago. Webb promised reform when he was elected in 2012 to succeed Warner as president of CONCACAF. So, further for including FIFA Executive Committee member Chuck Blazer of the United States and 2 sons of Warner had their guilty pleas unsealed in May. They are alleged to have taken part in a racketeering conspiracy paying bribes of more than $150 million over a 24-year period. The payments were tied to the award of broadcast and hosting rights for the World Cup Continental Championships in North and South America and regional club tournaments. So we'll follow it. We'll see what the heck happens. Who really knows what's going to happen and how that stuff's going to be. Let's see here. Oh, boy, I'll tell you what. Sniper case leads to 20-year prison term for an ex-United States soldier. A former U.S. Army soldier who participated in a conspiracy to kill a federal agent and a confidential informant has been sentenced in New York to 20 years in prison. Timothy Vemvakius was sentenced today in Manhattan federal court. He pleaded guilty in January. He was arrested in 2013 along with 4 other men who served in the armed forces of various nations, some of them as snipers. The 43-year-old Vemvakius served in the United States Army from 1983 to 2004. Prosecutors say in a Drug Enforcement Administration sting operation, he agreed to provide security and surveillance services to a Colombian drug trafficking organization. They say that he and another defendant agreed to kill a DEA agent and an informant in Liberia in exchange for $700,000. The other men charged in the case have pled guilty and await sentencing. Boy, I hope to tell you. Well, Democratic activists still not quite ready for Clinton. 3 months into Hillary Rodham Clinton's campaign for president, there are fresh warning signs that she may be falling short with some Democratic voters whose enthusiasm will be essential to her success in 2016. While Clinton remains the front runner for her party's nomination, new polling by Associated Press GFK shows a drop in her favorability rating among Democrats. Financial disclosure documents filed by her campaign show the bulk of her money coming from big donors, hinting at low enthusiasm with average supporters. And she's facing pushback on her positions from some liberal activists on the campaign trail and at party gatherings. Clinton was noticeably absent from the roster of speakers expected this week in Phoenix at the Netroots Nation Convention, an annual gathering of about 3,000 liberal activists and organizers who frequently volunteer on presidential campaigns. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, a rival for the Democratic nomination, and Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren plan to address the conference. Several attendees said the 2 liberal luminaries were pushing Clinton to the left, but that they still had reservations about her candidacy. Now, when I come back, we're going to talk about the IRS losers. The first case up is they must pay a refund to a non-filer. And I'm going to tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay a great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. And you know what? This just sends chills up and down my spine. I don't know about you guys, but I just love this thing. And you know, I don't even know why I'm procrastinating over it. What I need to do is to just absolutely start telling you all about what's going on right here. So let's get right up to it. The IRS loses, must pay a refund to non-filer. Here's the thing. Michael Zarkey didn't file a return for 1999, and when the IRS realized this almost 3 years later, it sent him a tax bill. But it turned out that Zarkey had overpaid his taxes by $270, and he sought a refund. IRS's objection was this. A person who hasn't filed a return can obtain a refund only of taxes paid during the prior 2 years. As more than 2 years had actually passed since his payment, Zarkey was not entitled to a refund. So he went to court, and this is what the judge actually said. That is the general rule, but the IRS can send a deficiency notice to collect a tax bill up to 3 years back, and when it does so, the taxpayer gets the same time limit for the refund claim. So, Zarkey, he gets his refund, and it's going to be allowed. And you got to love that, right? You just got to absolutely love that kind of stuff. I know that I do. Let me give you one more here. The IRS lost. An estate avoids an undervaluation penalty when both sides' experts were wrong. You know, when a woman died, her shares in a private company were valued by the IRS at $32.4 million, and by her estate, at $1.75 million. There's a big difference, right? Now, finding the difference startling, the court valued the shares at $13.5 million. The IRS then sought to impose undervaluation penalties on the estate. This is what the judge said. When assets are undervalued by more than 25%, a penalty of 40% normally applies, and here the undervaluation was 87%. But this valuation was difficult. Both sides made errors, and the estate's valuation was much closer to the court's than was the IRS's. So this gives sufficient cause to lift the penalty. You gotta celebrate over this stuff. You gotta love this stuff. Absolutely. Let me give you one that the IRS actually had a split on. A spouse is innocent for only one of 3 years. Andrea Vuksta's husband earned the family's income and underpaid his taxes for 3 years. He also made a bankruptcy filing in which his general debts, but not his tax debts, were extinguished. Now, after that, he died, and the IRS tried to collect from Andrea the tax that he still owed on the couple's joint returns. She claimed innocent spouse relief, saying she hadn't known about the tax underpayments. So this is what the court actually said. Andrea didn't know of the underpayment for the first year when its return was filed, so she gets relief for that year. But she had to know of the taxes due for the other 2 years because of the bankruptcy case. So she does not qualify for innocent spouse for those 2 years. And that makes sense. You've heard me say it all the time. You can try to con the IRS, but it's really not going to work. You got to use common sense. But when you're right, you're right. But when you're wrong, you're wrong. Just keep that in mind. Now, you've heard me talk many, many times about being a fly on the wall when IRS is doing things. Well, that's what we're talking about right now when we deal with inside the IRS. Now, this is not a court case. These are precedents that the IRS has set with previous decisions that they've made. So you can use this to your benefit when you're arguing with the IRS. And let me just kind of give you a little bit of what's actually going to go on here. Now, first off, let's talk about the poorly executed estate tax plan targeted by the IRS. Now, a cautionary tale here. Professional advice was obtained in an effort to save estate tax, and as a result, a family limited partnership was actually formed. The big problem here? Real property was not transferred into the family limited partnership until 2 days before the taxpayer actually died. The IRS contended that the decedent had retained the current economic benefit of the assets transferred into the trust, and so the value of the real estate and other assets of the family limited partnership were therefore included in her taxable estates. So here's the best defense when setting up your own family limited partnership. Make sure that it is established for a legitimate and significant non-tax reason. Then follow all applicable rules for making sure that the integrity of the family limited partnership will be respected by the IRS. And the way you do that is you either get a tax attorney or a good tax accountant to help you set that up. That's exactly what you want to be doing. Let me give you one more here. Beware of legal advice from sellers of tax shelters. Let me tell you about it. A lawyer in Louisiana was held responsible for his part in promoting tax shelter investments that he knew, or at least should have known, were illegal. The lawyer engaged in wire and mail fraud as part of a scheme to generate exorbitant fees by selling phony tax shelters. The defrauded investors paid more than $1 million in fees for the privilege of investing in this illegal tax shelter. In the case is kind of a long one, but the self-defense here is do not trust the advice of a lawyer who also stands to profit from your investment. Seek independent counsel not associated with the transaction. That is what you always, always, always have to do. Always seek the advice of a third party. You know what? You hear me say this all the time. You're always going to save more money than it costs you by using a licensed professional. Let me tell you why. A licensed professional is required to have errors and omissions insurance. And by virtue of that, if they give you the wrong advice, then the insurance is going to cover it. You don't have to lose sleep at night. You don't have to worry that somebody's going to tap you on the shoulder or send you a certified letter or knock on your door because you used a licensed professional. they have the obligation to give you the right advice. If they don't, that's what that errors and omissions insurance is all about, and that's just exactly what's going to give you peace of mind. Now, do not go away, because he's waiting in the wings, our own Sean LaFave with his Geared for Wellness Corner, and we'll be right back with Sean right after these brief messages. So don't go away. You don't want to miss this. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:33 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 90 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what? That's going down. It's down from 94 on its way to 62. And as I always say, I can't wait till it gets to the lower number, that 62 number. But you know what? You're talking about the heat is on because my buddy is waiting in the wings. I have no idea what he's going to talk about, but we could be talking about current events. We could be talking about healthcare. I think sometimes they're the same thing, but let's get him in here and see what we're going to be talking about. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean LaFave, in his Geared for Wellness Corner. Hey, Sean, welcome aboard. Good to have you here. It must be Thursday because this is the second time this week I've talked to you.
That's exactly what it is. How you doing, Robert?
Well, I'm doing good. I kind of think it's time to turn me over. I think I'm medium rare on one side already.
Yeah, it's you know what? I can't relate because it's about 75 degrees out here today. So
oh man, just showing
yeah.
off, right? Just temperature dropper. You live in God's country out there, and you get these ocean breezes and stuff. But you know what? Try and get a suntan the way I'm getting one.
And how is that?
I just step outside.
Oh, just step outside.
Yeah, just step outside. Don't have to go out there very long.
I was going to say, I just get to enjoy it. I kind of slow bake out there, It's like more like a crock pot. It's kind of nice. We can actually enjoy it. I love getting a tan. So yeah, no, it's pretty hard. I saw someone post something on Facebook the other day, says, why do I need to go to vacation when I live right here? And there's a picture of the beach, and it's right outside, like near Laguna Beach. And I thought, that's true, really. Like people, I have friends back from Kansas that go on vacation, and I can remember them telling me before I ever moved out here, they go, I go to Laguna Beach and I love it out there. And I was like, where's Laguna Beach? I didn't even know where it was before.
Well, let me ask you, do you have air conditioning? And if you do you use it very often?
Yeah, I've got it, and I use it collectively probably, 3 weeks out of the year, maybe 4 tops. I use about 3 weeks out of the year. And usually I use it when it warms up if it's humid, because I don't like when it's humid outside and that stickiness and, being inside, I hate that. So I'll usually use it just to drop the humidity down if it's up. And when I say it's hot outside, I mean like 90 degrees. We don't get 100 and stuff like that.
Well, going in that kind of a similar direction, and I know you probably got something prepared, but I wanted to ask you a couple questions. And we're caught in this California drought, and some people don't think it's real, other people don't. Just like some people don't think global warming is real, and other people don't. It just seems to me that we're ignoring the face of what's going on. I'm upset because our own legislators who knew that we lived in a desert didn't do anything to try and preserve our water tables and save water for us. We can pump oil 5,000 miles, but we can't pump a drop of water. It doesn't make any sense at all, especially when they're drowning on the East Coast. We could use that water. But I wanted to ask you about the drought. How much are they mandating you reduce your water usage where you're at?
I've been told out here that if you're required to reduce your water usage by 20%. I think it was either 20 or 25%. I think it's 20%, or they'll increase your rate. Okay,
let me tell you what just happened to me. I am just livid, right? Now, last month, or my last water bill, I got a water bill for $550. I just about fell off my chair, right? And it was because of this drought thing. And what actually happened is that, you've been to my home. I've got a large home and lots of bathrooms, and there's only 2 of us living in this place, so most of those bathrooms, I never see the inside of them. It turns out 3 of them had small tank leaks, for the for the float thing. So they were running 24/7. So I got this big bill, and I go, okay, I fixed them all. Figured that would take care of it. Well, I just got my bill 3 days ago, and we have a mandatory reduction here of 35% in Rancho Cucamonga. I got my bill, and I had actually reduced my personal water usage over the previous year by 28%. And I got a $618 water bill. I want to tell you, I am just livid. Now,
I honestly don't even know how they can. If you reduce 28%, I don't even know how that can even be legal. Because water it's a reduced percent, or 35%. That's just that's insane. I mean, that's a huge number. And to tax someone that much, this isn't gasoline, or this is water. This is necessary.
Well, they hit me with a huge penalty for not getting the 35. I had a conversation with my wife Marlene yesterday. I said, Mar, I'm going to turn off all of the water for the backyard. And I've got a large backyard, a lot of landscaping and everything else. We spent a lot of money putting all that in there. I'm going to turn that off. If you start thinking about $600 a month, that's $7,200 a year.
Yeah, that's a huge chunk of change.
Yeah, that is.
I live in houses out in Kansas that our payment wasn't even $600 a month for rent.
Yeah.
That's an unacceptable gouging that I think that they're doing. And people talk about Lake Powell, the water levels. so, seriously low. I'm like, it's not a lake, people. It's a reservoir. That's what we built it for, was to use it when we needed it. And
That's right.
now we need it, and so it's okay that it's low. People are freaking out like this thing is like, that it's been a lake there for 1 million years, and then now we're destroying it. It's like, no, we built it. We put a huge dam up, and we built this lake, a reservoir, so that if we ever needed water, we would have it. And now that we need it, we're using it. Everyone's going, oh.
Yeah, it was never, it was, the recreational part of Lake Mead and Lake Powell and all these different lakes was just an offset of having to try and preserve water for drought years. Now we're actually into the water table, and, this is going to take 5-10 years to replenish this if we get super wet winters. Now, they're saying we're going to have an El Nino winter this year, which is a heavy rain winter, but that's not even going to dent this thing. It'll take, I've heard it's going to take 5 to 6 years, maybe 10, just to replace the water table. Forget about the reservoirs and things.
Yeah, and that's, and that's just the way it goes. Things go through cycles, and it sucks that the lake is that low, but we put it there for a reason. And so we're gonna take 5 years. We've been draining out of it for how many years now? We've been going through this drought.
Oh yeah,
and a lot of water. So yeah.
But I don't understand how. I mean, you've got 20 or 25% reduction mandated. I've got a 35% mandated. Other places have got a 15% mandated. How they decide who they're going to castigate around here. And to what amount. And then I happen to know that in the Sacramento Valley, they don't even have water meters.
Oh, wow.
So ask me, hey, Sean, ask me if I'm pissed off.
So, Robert, are you just a little pissed off over this?
You better believe it. Man.
Yeah, I would be too. I feel for you. I'm fortunate. The people. The funny thing is, the people who are really getting, that this is actually the worst for are the people who were already conserving water. Imagine if you were already one of these people that watched your water, usage, and you super careful, and all of a sudden now they go, oh, but you got to reduce it 35%. You're like, I already got it down to as low as I possibly thought I could. Yeah, it's I don't get how they can justify a $600 water bill. That's just
it's unconscionable. And I'm sure I'm not the only guy getting it. Here's the other thing. I was talking to my son-in-law last Sunday. We went to the Museum of Tolerance for my grandson Joey's birthday. And his birthday was on the 4th of July, but we went to the Museum of Tolerance as a gift for his birthday. And my son-in-law was telling me that he had a buddy many, many years ago who had said that he recognized we lived in this desert out here that they call the Los Angeles Basin. And basically, he said, what they ought to do is they ought to just, take tanks and collect the gray water. You know what gray water is? That's the water you landscape with, and the bath water that goes down the tub, and the toilet water that goes down the tub, and dishwater, that kind of stuff, right? He says, get a tank and collect all that stuff, and then use that water, treat it, but use that water to do your landscaping with. And he says, he couldn't get anybody to buy into the concept. Well, today, with new construction, there are some communities that are mandating 500-gallon tanks that be buried underneath the ground for each house that collects this gray water, and they're going to use that for landscaping. Now, you think that they could have done this maybe 50 years ago? It would have been cheap, and it would have been easy.
I remember when I lived in Colorado Springs, the Air Force Academy, because they had these huge grounds and lots of grass. And this was 25 years ago, 25 years ago, that they had set up that exact same thing. They used the recycled wastewater to, big signs, do not drink the water. Everywhere you went, like, don't drink the water coming out of the sprinklers. Because it was recycled wastewater, and they just used it to water all the grass, and the grass was green and beautiful. So, yeah. What I can't figure out is, there's if you look west, where I am, you only have to look a few miles west, and there's this really, really huge body of water. We call it the ocean. And, I know that desalinization takes a lot of energy, but it's something that it's a functional use that we can take advantage of.
Well, they do it on ships.
They do it on ships, and we've got tons of sunlight. It rains literally where I live. Since I've been here 2 years now, and it has rained honestly, probably 10 times since I've been here in 2 years. And, so we get all this sunshine. I might throw up some solar panels, throw up a desalinization plant and start pumping water from the ocean. There's plenty of it there. So, they're worried about all the ice, the ice melting in the glaciers and the ice caps and everything and raising the water level up. I'm like, well, just take the water out of the ocean and desalinize it and use it to drink. And
yeah,
I don't know why that's not possible. To me, that would seem like that would make a lot of sense.
There are so many things, Sean, that are absolutely possible that it's got to, when you sit down and you have an intelligent dialogue like you and I are having right now, there are so many great ideas that absolutely could be implemented that could just make life in general so much more pleasant, and it wouldn't take any big deal, and it wouldn't deface the environment in any way.
Right, yeah. You could, like I just said, desalinization from water that we're not going to, we could drink all that we want, water our grass all we want, we're not going to affect the level of the ocean, and we can run it off of solar power plants because we've got a ton of sunshine here.
Yeah.
And would have zero impact. Well, I can see zero.
Do you know, it's interesting. We wouldn't even need solar plants. I was talking to Ray Mailer a couple of weeks ago. He was talking about this new technology that they have, and it deals with ocean currents. And they can take this technology, and it's very small. You would never see it. You take it about 25, 30 miles out to sea, and the currents affect this thing, and it's not in it. You can't even see it. It's all underwater. But each one of these things can produce enough power to power 25 million households. So if you put 10 of these things out on the California coast, or put 5 out there and 5 on the East Coast, you could actually power the entire nation. What would that cost? And except that that the power companies aren't going to let you do that because they'd lose their revenue, right?
Of course, yeah, absolutely, and that's probably what this. I've heard of those things, and they work by the water moving back and forth, and it's a really cool concept. But yeah, you're right. They're not going to want it because it's all about money. Everyone's got to keep their pockets fattened. Which we're going to talk about people doing that illegally and how it affects healthcare as soon as we come back from this commercial break.
Well, that sounds fantastic. We're talking to our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner. Sean has actually helped me a great deal here. I've got to vent, so I got all that pressure off, and all that tension is gone. I'm not going to have a heart attack. Thank you so much for that. We'll talk some more to Sean and see if he can't relieve you of some tension. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay a great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. And now that he has saved me of my heart attack and my anxiety and all that stuff, let's see what he can do for you. What do you got going in the Geared for Wellness Corner today, Sean?
Well, we ended the show Tuesday and kind of threw out a little snippet of this doctor up in Michigan. And I don't even want to say the games he was playing, just an absolute horrible acts that he committed. This guy's an oncologist. We've I'm going to back up a second. We've created this culture where a lot of people, and I know that especially the generation before mine, really have this philosophy that you your doctor is educated. Your doctor has your best interest in mind. Your doctor's here to help, and so you should really kind of trust your doctor. That whole thing, trust me, I'm a doctor. And even doctors would get this God complex because people put them on such a pedestal. And I know that my generation really started to question it, and this generation after mine is questioning what's going on in the medical world even more. But I still think that trust that we put in doctors is still pretty prevalent. And there are doctors obviously out there who will take advantage of that. But this guy took it to a whole new level. And I read about his case, I think it was last year or sometime when it first started coming out. And he's an oncologist up in Detroit, Michigan area. And basically what he was doing was he was diagnosing people with cancer who did not have cancer and putting them through chemotherapy treatments. And I got
to tell you that just turns my stomach.
I think to myself thoughts that probably I shouldn't think, and I go, I hope this guy gets treated in prison the way he deserves to get treated, and because I can't even imagine the physical torture that you put someone through by giving them chemotherapy, and the emotional torture that you put someone through. This man doesn't even deserve to be alive, in my opinion. But, you can't, I don't know that he actually killed anybody from his treatments. But
Sean, if you think about it, if you think about what chemotherapy does, and it just absolutely kills your immune system and attacks your cells and things, he put all of those patients in tremendous danger.
Oh, yeah, unbelievable amount. And I think that this guy took a Hippocratic oath, and it just goes so far beyond, violating that oath, that it's just unconscionable to me to think that a human being could do this to another human being. And I would say, I hope that he wasn't doing it because he enjoyed torturing people. Maybe he does, but I'm guessing he probably did it because he wanted to drive a Mercedes S550 instead of a C-Class, or
Yep.
he wanted to live in a 8,000 square foot home instead of a 4,000 square foot home.
Yeah, he did it for his bank account.
And I, of course, he was found guilty of 13 counts of health care fraud, 2 counts of money laundering, and 1 count of conspiracy to defraud the United States.
So did he lose his license and some of his freedom?
Oh, yeah. He was, let me see here. He was facing 29 total counts. I can't remember what it said here. I don't know that it said, it said that he submitted $109 million in Medicare claims for chemotherapy and other cancer treatments
Good
from
Lord.
August 2007 until July of 2013. So in a matter of 6 years, his clinics submitted $109 million in Medicare claims. And God knows, I wonder how many of these, we know they have the ones, the 13 that were certainly fraudulent, but how many more he possibly got? Over $100 million in claims.
Let me ask you this for just a second, Sean. And I don't mean to digress, but but you know more about it than I do. Let's just say that you're on chemotherapy and radiation, and it really depletes your strength, and it just kills your immune system and all those things. Even if you need it, doesn't it make your body more susceptible to other diseases? And couldn't you actually falter as a result of that? That it's really an extreme modality that they use to get rid of the cancer. They're weighing out that it's the best of 2 evils. But if you don't have cancer and they give it to you, it's just simply evil, right?
It is pure evil, yeah. Because chemotherapy, it's kind of one of those things that they give the chemotherapy hoping that you'll survive the chemotherapy. There comes a point where they stop the chemotherapy, even if the cancer is still there, because they know that the chemotherapy will kill you if you go long enough, because it suppresses your immune system, it affects your brain function, it affects everything from your hair and your toenails to, people go bald, they have toenail problems, they have brain problems, they can't think right, they have fatigue, they have anxiety, they have depression. They're vomiting after they get this stuff done. They're holding their guts up all over the place, and they're in constant pain. There's just like I said, their immune system it will literally destroy your immune system to the point that you won't even be able to defend yourself against the common cold. And so what they look at, they go, okay, what are the chances that the cancer is going to kill you, and what are the chances that the chemo is going to kill you? And they say, well, if the chance of cancer is higher, then we do the chemo. But when the chemo gets to the level where it's not suppressing the cancer enough, and now we know that chemo is going to do more damage than good.
Well, let me ask you this, Sean. Let's say that you're on chemo, and the chemo has now depleted your immune system and your body's ability to fight back all this stuff, and it's not successful with the cancer. Now that they find out it's not successful with the cancer, and they've completely irradiated and eradicated your immune system, does that make the cancer move that much faster because there's nothing to fight it?
I don't have a solid answer for that. I've not researched that specific question, but logically speaking, the answer I would have to say is yes.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Complements your immune system, so it would make sense that yes, the cancer is really a symptom of a weakened immune system. There's other things. You have a high acidity level. There's like your sugar level is really high in your body. Cancer feeds off of sugar. It feeds off of an acidic environment. But it's a weakened immune system that allows it to continue to grow. And so, yeah, when you weaken the immune system, from what I understand, when they get to the point where chemotherapy is no longer working, they basically just send you home to die, or you stay in the hospital to die. One of those two. And
so if the cancer doesn't kill you, the chemo does.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And so this guy was putting people through literally a life-threatening treatment for something that they did not need. Let me
ask you another question, Sean. Let's they're talking about cures for cancer, and now I'm under the understanding or the impression, maybe not the understanding, that the cure for cancer is a definition now, and that is that, hey, if you're cancer-free for X number of years, then they've cured your cancer. But then it comes back, and those people that got that cancer, isn't there a very high percentage of people who have had cancer that have beat it for 5 or 6 or 7 years, that they wind up getting it back and dying from it ultimately anyway? Would that be a correct statement to make?
Yeah, I think that's correct. What I believe also is the longer it stays in remission, the lower your chances are of it coming back. So, if it's been a year, they still go, hey, we got to keep watching, after 2, 3, 4, 5. If it's been 10 years, they're going, hey, you're probably out of the woods at this point. But there's always a chance that it could come back. And really what you look at is, what is it about your life? We obviously, we understand there are genetic factors. Some people have a genetic susceptibility to certain, diseases, certain types of cancer, more so than others. There are definite genetic markers, but there are things that will trigger that and make it worse, and if you got cancer from smoking, let's say, for instance, well, if you don't quit smoking, the chances are you're probably going to get cancer again. But if you clean your life up and you start eating more healthy foods, you start exercising, you're not smoking anymore, the longer you can go without the cancer coming back, and the higher the chances are that you've actually beat it.
Well, I had heard the statistic one time that just living in Southern California was the equivalent to smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day.
That's, yep, in the Los Angeles area. And I'm sure it's, the closer you get to the center of Los Angeles, I'm sure the worse it is. But yeah, that was the exact quote that I read too, and it was years ago I read that. It was like the equivalent of smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day, the damage that it does to your lungs and to your, just the cell repair that your body's got to constantly go through from kicking out all these toxins. We've got things now that it's even worse. All this stuff, people have forgotten. I don't know if they've forgotten or they just don't want to. They don't want to think about it. But Fukushima is still dumping radiation into the ocean, and the currents are still bringing. The water currents are bringing here. We have radioactive uranium in. No, it's not uranium. It was another metal. I can't remember which one it was. But we have radioactive material in the kelp beds here in Southern California. And that isotope, they were able to narrow it down, and they know that isotope specifically came from Fukushima. So when you go in the water, you're subjecting yourself to radioactive material here in Southern California. The air currents carry it. Well,
isn't the sunlight a form of radiation?
Well, it's I guess it would be considered a form of radiation, but it's very, very low level, and it's not the kind that it's gonna tear down your cell membrane and cause neurological damage. It's not going to eat your nervous system up. Worse, you're going to sunburn. Your skin would literally, if you were exposed to radioactive material, it would literally burn your skin. And so, yeah, the sun kind of does that, but it's a different kind of radioactive energy. It's not really the same thing. You can't really compare those two. But what we're doing to ourselves now is we're exposing ourselves to all kinds of toxins. We've got, like you said, just the smog from the cars and the factories, and we've got the pesticides that are being sprayed, and now we get this radioactive material, and we've got lead that we've been using for generations that we're still trying to clean up, and on and on. And so, all of these things contribute to something like cancer. Of course, now we were talking about this doctor here, but that aside, it's what we need to do to be mindful of our own bodies.
Well, we've got a minute and a half. I'd love for you to address the fact that today, in today's technology, we actually have the technology to make the lives of people, the lives that people are able to enjoy, much better around the world, and we just don't do it because it's not profitable for all these big companies out there.
Right, yeah, and I know we touched on that before, is there's more money in sick people than there are in healthy people, and obviously there's no money in dead people, so you want to keep them alive as long as possible, but you don't want to keep them perfectly healthy, at least if you're in it for the profit. You want to keep them at a level where they're dependent on some sort of medication or some sort of treatments or whatever. My favorite thing to do is to get someone to the point where they don't even need my services anymore. Because trust me, there's plenty of people out there who do. So those technologies that are available, are they being suppressed? Probably so. Because another part of it too is human beings they thrive on pleasure, and the things that give us pleasure many times give us poor health too. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. But hopefully someday we'll get to the point as a human race that we thrive off of one another improving instead of off of the
from your lips to God's ears. Listen, great segment this week. I really appreciate it. You have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I know it's coming up for you. Get some fresh air out there, and that cold air that you're enjoying out there by the beach.
I will. Well, thanks, Robert.
All right, buddy. You have a good one. We'll talk to you next week. Now, don't go away. When we come back, we're going to be with my good buddy John Matthews and his conservative syndicate, and I think we're going to be talking about the Iran nuclear deal. I have no idea, but you know what? Whatever it is, you'll find it interesting and you'll find it controversial. We'll be right back. Don't go away. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:08 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 88 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 94 degrees on its way to 62. I can't wait till it gets to the 62. But you know what? Talking about dealing with the heat, my good buddy John Matthews is sitting right on the corner. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get him in here and let's just talk about everything under the sun. We got to get your blood pressure moving here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the basement of his strategic planning room located at his political hideaway in Los Angeles County, the dedicated man who stands and serves the political conscience of our nation, Mr. John Matthews. Good to have you here. You know what? I was really excited and anxiously anticipating your call in today because of, it seems like I was on your show last night and we just flat out ran out of time.
Yeah, I know, isn't it? That's probably the one thing about radio. There is something about the fact that once you get on the air, time seems to go into warp drive. There's just never is enough of it for what you want to do. I can tell you, every single day, I have 4 or 5 things I want to do. I usually end up doing 1 or 2.
And it's not like you got a 2-hour show. I've got a 2-hour show. It just seems like there's always more show than there is time to produce it.
Yeah. In fact, I kind of wonder sometimes how some of the bigger shows, more popularly known shows, get anything done when you consider how much time they devote to commercials. And I actually timed the Rush Limbaugh show one time, and every 30 minutes there's exactly 15 minutes worth of advertising, 15 minutes worth of talk.
Yeah.
And I sit there. Well, now I know why this guy does 3 hours, because he needs that extra hour, just to get through the day's agenda, that kind of thing. So, I hope I come to that point someday where I have too many advertisers to handle. But
that'd be a nice problem to have, wouldn't it, John?
Yeah, I'm waiting for it.
Me too. I just you keep plugging and hoping that your popularity will continue to grow and grow and grow, and you do everything that you can to try and make your concepts interesting to the general public, and even if it's a focused public, and you try so hard, and it just. When it just seems like when you're on the internet as opposed to terrestrial stations, it's that much harder because people they're in their cars and they're not tuning into you via Bluetooth or stuff like that. They're going to the regular radio waves. Now the new cars are going to be computer based, and even the radios will be computer based, so people can pick up our computer shows, our internet shows, and I think they will be listened to a lot more than just regular radio.
Yeah, I think Chevrolet has already implemented it. I am seeing models now that are coming out, and that's one of the features they're talking about. And so it's something that's exciting because I think it will actually bounce out like satellite radio. Satellite radio I always thought was the best medium because it's it pays better.
Yeah.
And unlike terrestrial radio, where you have to prove to a station that you have an audience that will, use their advertisers, satellite radio pays you to come on the air, and that's why people like Howard Stern can be a millionaire. Nobody really listens to that guy, but the satellite pays him to come on the air. That kind of stuff. So the idea of being able now to be able to integrate computer software and applications and stuff in the car is going to be a major deal. And I think more and more we're going to hear terrestrial radio going to go by the wayside eventually, just because of the cost.
Not only that, John. If you're just listening to terrestrial radio, then you are going to drive out of the signal area and you're going to miss that show. Where when you're dealing with internet radio and satellite radio, which is a part of internet radio, you never have to leave. You never have to leave or lose that show. You can take that. You can just keep listening all the way across the country if you want to.
Yeah, that's the advantage. And the thing I've always liked about it also, that's why I think internet is something that is just phenomenal for the medium that we use here, is that it's always prime time somewhere.
Yeah.
It's global, and it's always prime time somewhere. I'd say a third of the emails and stuff that I get are from people out of the United States.
Well, it's interesting that you would say that because, and we ought to talk about it a little bit. Let's talk about your show for a little bit. John broadcasts his show, The Conservative Syndicate, Monday through Wednesday, and he broadcasts from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific time. Now, that's 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern time. So he's catching an awful lot of different segments of what's going on. But when you start thinking in terms of going into Europe, because this show is listened, they hear him in France, they hear him in Spain and Italy and all of those places. There's a 10-hour time difference when you're talking about France. So when he goes on the air at 5:00 p.m. here, it's actually 3 in the morning in France. But when he does his rebroadcasts in the morning, it's actually 3 in the afternoon in France. And so you get this broader audience appeal and opportunity. And it just seems to me, John, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, that everybody in the world wants to hear what the commentary is from hosts in the United States.
There is an intense interest in what's going on here in the United States and other countries. I get, just off the top of my head here, I have gotten responses from Germany, Australia, France, Canada, Indonesia. I actually had a caller one night called in live from Saudi Arabia, and it was like, it was like 2:00 in the morning over there, and I'm like, well, well, we don't sleep over here. Oh, okay. So,
I had a phone call from a guy in France, and I kept thinking, I wasn't giving it an awful lot of thought, and then all of a sudden I'm thinking, good Lord, man, why aren't you in bed sleeping?
Yeah. Well, they're like us. They have someone work at night, and they're sitting in front of a computer or a radio, and they turn it on. So, but yeah, the interest, especially in Europe right now, over in the European Union, I get a lot of stuff from people over there. Very concerned about what's going on over here. And one of the first questions I always ask is, well, what's your take on Obama?
Yeah.
And I have yet to have anybody calling outside of the United States. Now, I'm sure there are people that do like this guy, but nobody's ever called in my show. And I say, well, what's the general, opinion about Obama? And they're like, the guy's a jerk.
Well, John, if they called into your show, they'd be afraid to say he was a saint.
Yeah, well, I guess if you're in Russia, you gotta, well, in Russia, you'd probably be hailed a hero, but in some of the other, European countries, some of them are very socialistic. And, so Obama's kind of a role model, I guess, for some people. I don't know. But, it's an interesting concept. And like I said, a lot of people are watching what's going on here in the States and gauging what's going on here in the States by what's happening in their respective countries.
Well, you know what? We've got about 3 minutes before we have to go for a commercial break, and I want to drop a little bomb on you. It scares me to death, John, that Vladimir Putin is supportive and agrees with Obama on this nuclear arms deal.
Yeah, I'm sorry, he's doing what? I missed one word.
It scares me to death that Vladimir Putin, our declared enemy and Obama's declared enemy, is supporting Obama in the United States in the nuclear arms deal with Iran.
Well, deception is great. He probably is because he knows how detrimental it's going to be to us. This is just another. Why would he not support it? If it's gonna deteriorate our defenses, it's going to deteriorate all the other things that it can do and will do in the Middle East. And you're looking at a guy who competes with the oil industry, and this kind of stuff can trigger. If it goes wrong, if it goes awry real fast, who knows what this is going to trigger? The idea that Iran is going to be able to start putting oil back out there again is going to affect the price of oil. That helps Russia, because now it's going to drive the price down, compared to, Saudi Arabia and some of the other big OPEC.
Yeah, because Russia is an oil consumer. They're not an oil producer, are they?
I'm sorry?
I said Russia is an oil consumer, not an oil producer, right?
Yeah, but Russia is a natural gas producer.
Yes.
And then, so that's going to trickle over into that. It's going to make natural gas in some aspects, I think, look a little bit more inviting and stuff like that. When we look at what's going on with Russia and Ukraine and the natural gas processing stuff, which will directly affect the European Union because that's the main consumer of the gas coming out of Russia. Economically, this can go one of two ways, and it doesn't really look too good for us either way. But,
no,
it's going to help some of these other countries, I think.
Yeah, economically, I suppose there could be some benefit to the United States, but the real benefit economically is going to be to Iran, because we've taken off the sanctions. They've got about $180 billion in oil revenue that has been frozen around the country, around the world, and now they're going to be able to collect that money. And the unfortunate thing is what they most likely are going to be doing with it, but it's going to help the economy. And Rouhani has promised his people that he's going to improve their economic footholds. And so he can, with this money starting to come in, he can do just a little bit of that. The biggest problem is I can see a major portion of that money going in to support terrorism, and that scares the living daylights out of me.
Well, I think we're going to see a lot. And we're talking about one of the main sources of income for terrorist organizations. I mean, Iran has dumped millions, if not billions, of dollars into Al-Qaeda. And here they're going to get that money back. I was looking at the report that you sent me, and 159 pages, 100 pages, about 100 pages of that are just people that the sanctions are going to be lifted off of, the companies and the people.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, my God, this is an enormous amount of money that these people are going to be able to now utilize. Even if they don't get a nuclear bomb, they're going to be able to build up their conventional forces to a level that will still bring unrest to the Middle East.
Absolutely. You know what? Let's talk some more about that, because I would like to talk about the arms part of it too. And let's talk about that after these brief commercial messages, John. We'll be right back with John Matthews in the Conservative Syndic right after these brief messages. Do not go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to my good friend John Matthews. Now, John broadcasts his show every Monday through Wednesday. It's the Conservative Network. And the best way to listen to John's show, because he's syndicated on many stations now, is to go right to his website at syndicate.net. I said network, but I meant to say syndicate. It's theconservativesyndicate.net. And right there's a little icon you can push on it. If he's broadcasting live, you can hear him live. If not, you can listen to any of his archives, and not just the ones that are Monday through Wednesday, but all of his past archives, including the ones on Wednesdays when I'm there with him. You don't want to miss those or any of the other ones. The one thing I love about John is that he doesn't pressure you and he doesn't embarrass you. He's not interested in doing that, but he is interested in entering into a dialogue with you, and he loves it if you've got a different point of view, because if he can't convince you that he's right, he'll at least tell you that he has a right to tell you that you're wrong. And here's the other thing. He makes you think. John, he'll sit there and say, yeah, you've got a valid point, but... And that's what I love about John. John, you got the microphone. We were talking about the Iran nuclear deal, and, you know, when you were talking about all those pages, 189 pages of this deal, and like you said, about 100 of it is just a list of companies that they're going to allow to be doing business with now, and it's unbelievable. But one of the things they're going to be allowed to do is to import and export munitions. I don't understand that one at all. Even though we're putting them out of the nuclear business for a while, or at least weapons grade nuclear stuff. I don't understand why we're letting them import and export arms.
Well, the whole deal, when you really look at it, you consider this: we had all these sanctions in Iran, and I way beyond, just astronomical compared to what I really thought it was. I thought a few banks and maybe some companies, like 100 pages worth of companies, banks, and individuals that are going to have sanctions lifted from them, and the idea that Iran is basically going to be able to function as a terrorist state and do it freely now.
And be able to bank worldwide. Their banking system has been opened up to the world now.
Yeah, and it's like what you see here is, I guess the hardest thought for me to get my head around is the idea that we gave them all this stuff and actually got nothing in return for it. And all under the threat of, well, if you don't do what we say, we're going to put the sanctions back.
Well, let me play devil's advocate a little bit here, because I really think we did. When we talk about we're talking about 5 major countries that got involved here. It was Russia, China, it was the United Kingdom, Germany, and France. And so it wasn't just the United States. And what we got was we all understand that Iran is not now our friend, has never been our friend, and is probably never going to be our friend. And what we were trying to do was to only address this nuclear issue. And so when you say we didn't get anything, I think we did get something. We did get a delay. We didn't get rid of, but we got a delay in their ability to actually get the bomb. And I think it works in our benefit in that the rest of the Middle East now can't be asking to get a bomb as well. On the other hand, are we not putting our own allies in danger, like Israel? Because who knows? Iran has never yet kept their word on anything that they've agreed to do with us. I don't know why we would expect them to do it now. I think we're just on our knees hoping and praying that accidentally they'll actually keep their word and do this agreement. But this agreement had nothing really to do with economics or friendship or anything else. It really only dealt with this nuclear capacity, and all it did was delay it. It didn't get rid of it.
Well, see, this is the complexity of it, is that we're back into the realm of what I call liberal doublespeak. and that is that we have a president who stands up in front of his teleprompter and he tells us what we want to hear in a way that makes it sound like it's a good deal. Well, this is what we're going to do. We have taken away their ability to develop a nuclear weapon. Okay, that's a flat statement. It's also a flat lie, because none of the centrifuges, we're going to reduce their centrifuges by a third. Well, you don't even know how many they have. So when you look at this kind of stuff and you say, well, we're reducing the centrifuges, but they're not. That doesn't reduce. It doesn't limit their ability to create a nuclear weapon. You're taking, what you're basically doing is you're saying, okay, we're going to make it a little bit more difficult for them to do things in mass quantities the way that they would want to do it, but it doesn't stop them from doing it. This is where it's misleading, where he says, well, we've done away with their ability to create a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, but under the agreement, John, they have to ship out of their country all their fissile material. They're only going to keep just a minimum amount for research and development, and then for medical and peaceful purposes. And so their ability to build that bomb really is done away with. And there are things that make a lot of sense to me, but it's only like I said before, we're not eliminating their ability to do it. We are delaying their ability to do it. And so what we've done is the same thing that I say that Congress has been doing for the last 6 years or longer, actually longer, and that is they're just kicking the can down the road for somebody else to handle this thing.
Well, that's really what it is. And again, there's several elements to this, and none of them sound positive to me. I get jumped all the time. I had a couple of people jump me the other day about, all you do is just bash this guy. All you do is just hound him about everything he does. He's trying to do what he thinks is the right thing. Well, okay, I'll give him that. He is doing what he thinks is the right thing, but it's not the right thing to do. So you guys take him at face value. Says, well, I do this because I think it's the right thing to do. Okay. Well, if I thought it was the right thing to do to go rob a bank because I needed more money, would that be justified to rob the bank? Because I say, well, it was the right thing to do. I needed money. So, the bank is there. So I went in and robbed the bank. It's the right thing to do. You've got to put these things in the context from which he's coming from. Now, here's a guy that has spent all of his college years and many of his community organizing years talking about nuclear disarmament. And he's written essays on it. Or somebody wrote essays with his name on it. I don't know if he wrote them, but this is back in his college days. We're going to disarm America because America's a nuclear threat, and if we do that, everybody else will disarm. Well, that's idealistically, that's fantasy land. To think that, okay, well, if we cooperate, and that's what's all behind this. Well, if we can get Iran to not develop a nuclear weapon, we've eliminated the possibility of a nuclear arms race in the Middle East. No, you haven't. You may have slowed it down a little bit, but as you just said, that you haven't stopped it. And all you're doing in exchange for that is you're giving these guys more bucks. When they're finally able to do it, they're going to be able to invest a lot more and a lot faster.
Yes.
And who knows where they're at right now anyway.
Absolutely. But, there is there's sort of a silver lining here, John, and you're going to laugh. You and I actually talk. We sort of look deeper into things, and you and I agree on an awful lot of things. And I'm interested to see if maybe you see the same thing I'm seeing here. There's one country that is not involved in this agreement, in these negotiations, and that is so adamantly opposed to it that we're losing them as an ally. Every day we piss them off more and more, and that's Israel. And I suspect that Netanyahu is going to send one of his bombs over there because he doesn't like Iran at all, and he's really ticked off at Obama. I think him and Obama have a personality conflict, and I think that he's just going to say, okay, enough of this stuff, and he's just going to do away with Iran.
Well, he's already said as much. He came out the other day and talked about what him and Obama talked about. And he's adamant about his position as the Prime Minister of Israel. It's like, my country comes first. And if I see a threat, we'll take care of it. And, in a lot of ways, there's one or two ways of looking at that. Netanyahu might take it into his own hands and say, well, this is what we've seen. And one of the things that has been proven throughout this whole process is that Israel's intelligence has been spot on, and ours is not.
Yeah.
And so when Israel has been coming out and saying, well, this is what's out there, and the U.S. plays it off, and then we find out later Israel was spot on. I mean, Israel called this deal. He said, this is what's going to happen. And he called it verbatim, and everything he said is what we ended up with, even though our president's telling us, no, we're not going to do that. Well, we did it. You know, it's like his spokesman on TV the other day denying this idea that we have access to 24/7 to their nuclear facilities if we see something's going wrong. And he said, well, we never went for that. The girl plays in a clip from 3 years ago when the same guy stood up and said, we're going to demand 24/7 access. And well, we never asked for that. Well, you said 3 years ago you wanted it. So the idea is that, you know, they just tell the public what they want to hear. The public takes it and eats it up and hopes and prays that what they're telling us is true. But in the back of our mind, if you got the IQ of C, in the back of your mind, you're going, man, we have been set up. And none of this stuff, and let me get to the crux of this thing. The very crux of this thing is the fact, I mentioned this yesterday, just in passing before we got off the air yesterday. Islam teaches through their religion, which is the basis of the government. They run a theocracy over there. Islam runs their government. It's not like over here. But they believe it is perfectly permissible to lie to anybody that's not a Muslim. We can lie because we're infidels. We're not even worthy of being classified as human beings. We're dogs. So therefore, anything they say to us is irrelevant. Now, if you're negotiating with somebody like that, and I've given the experience, I've worked when I had my printing business, I worked with people from the Middle East, and you set a price for something, and then you go to collect the price and say, well, we want to negotiate. I'm like, what do you mean? We set the price before I did the work. No, that was the starting price. You know, and so you end up in these big arguments. I walked away from accounts after doing the work going, you know what, forget this. I'm not going to go through this.
I've had that same experience, John. You're absolutely right. I've had that exact same experience.
Yeah, so what it is that they lie to you, and I can tell you right now, as soon as they do something, as soon as they violate this thing, and everybody starts saying, well, you need to go in there and investigate facilities, you know, according to this agreement, it takes 25 days from the time you notify them to the time you can actually step in. 25 days is a long time. You know, you can clean a room up pretty clean in 25 days. And so what do we have? We've gained nothing except maybe the chance that they'll do what they said they're going to do. Now, you're not going to do that with the people that are hell-bent and intent on destroying Israel. And Netanyahu knows that. And he's saying, you know what, the first sign of trouble here, we'll bomb the hell out of the place. And that'll be it. And so what will happen is the people over here on this side, the Obamas, the Clintons, the Kerrys, all these people, oh, we need to go after Israel. We need to put sanctions on Israel. You know, let's cut our allies down here and listen so we can prop our enemies up. You know, it's ridiculous. Netanyahu came out yesterday and said, he goes, this isn't just about Israel. This is about America. We're the little Satan. You're the big Satan. What do you think they're going to do? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it's just we have a lot more problems facing us now than we had 3 days ago. Because we're going to find out where the real holes are, and I can tell you right now, and I think you'll probably agree with me. There is one country that already knows where all the holes are. Iran.
They've got us pegged. They know they can push us around. They know we have a weak president. They know we have an either weak in Congress. They're you know, I was reading things hearing today. I was caught a little bit of Mark Levin today. Pew was out there doing the research there and realized 1.8 million Muslims here in the United States, and about over 13,000 of these people polled believe that suicide bombing is justified. Now, these are people living here in the United States.
Well, then I hope they're the ones that do it then, because we just as soon we'll get rid of 13,000 of them that way. Anyway, John, we're out of time. Can you talk about your show a little bit?
Well, just go to my website, theconservativesyndicate.net, and you can pick us up there. Like I said, if you click on the site, if we're live, it'll come right up live. If not, our latest show will show. We'll start playing, or you can go to the actual archive page and read the description of the show and listen to whatever it is you're interested in listening to. You can download our shows. You can find out information about our panel, which Bob is one of our panel members. You can find out about him, and if you don't already know, We write. We have bloggers on the team, and you can get to our blogs and stuff like that from there. So just go to the conservativesyndicate.net. Everything you want to know about us is there.
Hey, John, great segment. Really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to next week with you, my friend. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
All righty. Now, don't go away. Right after these brief minutes, when we come back, we're going to talk about today's birthdays, the secret teachings for your life, the Harvard Business Tip of the Day, an interesting but useless fact. Don't go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what today is? Yeah, you got it. It's July the 16th, and it's a special day. It's somebody's birthday. And you know what? She was born in 1911. Wonderful, beautiful lady. Passed away in 1995. A film actress, dancer, and singer. And you know as her as Fred Astaire's dance partner. It's happy birthday to Ginger Rogers. And here's a guy born in 1967, a comedian, actor, voice actor, and writer who first established himself as a cast member of Saturday Night Live. Happy birthday to Will Ferrell. And then here's a guy we also know, born in 1968, a former football running back who spent all of his professional career with the Detroit Lions in the National Football League. Happy birthday to Barry Sanders. Now, let's talk about today in history. July 16th, 1782. The first performance of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart took place then. And in 1969, Apollo 11, the first manned space mission to the moon, is launched from Canaveral, Florida, Cape Canaveral. And in 1999, John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr., his wife Carolyn, and sister-in-law Lauren were killed in a plane crash on the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Martha's Vineyard. Well, you know what? Our quote for today comes from Christopher Morley, and Chris writes, "Cherish all your happy moments. They make a fine cushion for old age." That's profound, but that's true, right? Now, let's talk about those secret daily teachings for your life. This is all about a positive mental attitude. That's exactly what it is. It's all about a positive mental attitude. And you know what? If you have a positive mental attitude, your life is going to be absolutely phenomenal. I promise you, absolutely phenomenal. Now, let's get to the secret for today. When you are in complete harmony with the universe, which is all good, then you have tapped into the greatest power that there is to support you. To harmonize yourself with the universe and allow all good things to flood into your life, speak good words, plant good thoughts, and generate good feelings. You know what that means? That means have a positive mental attitude. That's exactly what that means. And you know what? Your life will be better. The lives of everybody you touch will be better also. Now, let's talk about that Harvard business tip of the day. The management tip today is get feedback on a failed business case. What do you do if your business case fails to win over decision makers? First off, don't despair that your project wasn't approved. You've contributed to the success of the company by helping and identify that the project wasn't a worthwhile investment. The real purpose of a business case is not necessarily to win approval for your proposal. It's to provide enough information that the committee can make an informed decision. But don't just say thank you and walk away. Always ask, why? If you know precisely why the decision makers rejected your case, then you'll be able to follow up appropriately. Whether you ask in the meeting or in a subsequent email, don't pick a fight or try to change the outcome. Instead, seek to understand the reasoning. You might say, "Thanks for letting me know about your decision. I'd love any feedback that you have on why that project wasn't approved." I want to tell you, that is the secret to success in business. That creates respect and understanding. That's what business is all about. People do business with people. People don't do business with companies. People do business with people. Now, let's talk about those interesting but useless facts. You know that coffee beans aren't beans? They're fruit pits. Yep. Give that some thought. In the Scottish Hebrides, an island is defined as being an island only if it is big enough to sustain one sheep. There you go. Give that some thought. Or not. Whatever. Did you know that there are 92 known cases of nuclear bombs lost at sea? We were talking about the nuclear proliferation treaty with Iran. Can you imagine? 92 of these nuclear bombs are lost at sea. Go dredging the ocean. They'll have their nuclear bomb. How about this? In 1980, a Las Vegas hospital suspended workers for betting on when patients would die. Boy, I don't like that idea at all. Did you know the names of the two stone lions in front of the New York Public Library are Patience and Fortitude? They were named by then Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia. Yep. Interesting. Kind of. Sort of. Maybe. The cigarette lighter was invented before the match was. Isn't that kind of interesting? I find that hard to believe, but it is true. And did you know that a fire in Australia has been burning for more than 5,000 years? Well, I can't tell you any more about that because I don't know any more about that, but it's still going. It must be volcanic in nature and probably underground is what I'm thinking. How about this? The first toothbrush with bristles was developed in China in 1498. Now, bristles were taken from hogs at first, later from horses. The nylon bristles were developed in 1938 by DuPont. Give that some thought. And I'm glad we're dealing with nylon bristles now. By the way, did you know that starfish do not have any brains? I didn't know anything. I could live without brains, but I guess if you think about it, flowers and grass and plants and stuff like that, why not starfish, right? Did you know that black whales are born white? That's an interesting thought for you. And how about we leave with this one? Prior to the 1930s, diamond rings were rarely given as engagement rings. Now, give that some real thought. And while you're thinking about it, we're going to be right back after these commercial messages with our emails for the day. The first one comes from Melanie Parker from Colonial Heights, Virginia. She's saying, the wedding's off. Is there a tax break, maybe? I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Don't go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:52 p.m. Pacific Time. Currently 88 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what? We're coming down to the wire. It's time for our emails. Again, I want to remind you that some of the information you send me is a little sketchy, but I give you the best answers that I can. But we always encourage you to talk to a licensed professional. They're generally going to save you more money than they ever cost you, and they're going to give you peace of mind and let you sleep at night, because one of the conditions of their licensing is that they have errors and omissions insurance, which means that if they make a mistake and give you bad advice, they got to pay it. And if they don't pay it, their insurance has to pay it, and you're home free. That way, you don't have to worry about somebody knocking on your door or tapping you on the shoulder or calling you on the phone or sending you a certified letter, because it's just going to go right back to that licensed professional, and they're going to have to take care of it. Well, first email today comes from Melanie Parker from Colonial Heights, Virginia. And she says, the wedding is off. Is there a tax break too? Let me tell you about it. I bought a house with my fiance a year ago. We've since broken up and he's moved out. I can't afford to keep the place by myself, and its value has risen. Can I take any of my gain tax-free if I sell it? Well, Melanie, the answer to your question is yes. Normally, to take tax-free gain on a home sale of up to $250,000, a single taxpayer must own and use the home as his or her primary residence for 2 of the prior 5 years. But if the home sale is forced by what they call unforeseen circumstances before the 2 years is up, gain in a proportionally reduced amount can be taken tax-free. Now, the IRS regulations specifically give the canceling of a wedding after buying a home as an example of such an unforeseen circumstance. So hopefully that answers your question. Next email comes from Kylie Ukampang from Olathe, Kansas, from asking about depreciation decisions, and says, I plan to start a sideline business while keeping my regular job. If I take the Section 179 deduction for the equipment that I buy, but the startup has a first-year loss, can I take the deduction against my salary income? It's a good question, Kylie. If the business is a proprietorship, then the answer to your question is yes. You can take its 179 deduction against your salary, but you might save more tax in the long run by not doing that. And why? Say you buy equipment the cost of which normally is deductible through depreciation over 5 years. The Section 179 deduction lets you deduct up to $112,000 of that cost right away, instead of doing it over the 5 years. Now, this faster deduction sounds good, right? But slower depreciation deductions taken later when the business may turn profitable will reduce that 15.3% self-employment tax as well as the income tax, which the current deduction against salary will not do. So look at the numbers both ways before making your deduction choice, because you can come out way ahead of the game here. Next email comes from John Lutenslager from Monroe, Michigan, asking about a dependency exemption. It says, my mother's living in a nursing home and has run out of money, so I'll be paying her costs. Are there tax write-offs that I can get for this? Well, John, yeah. If you'll be paying more than half of your mother's support, you probably will be able to take or claim her actually as a dependent and get a dependency exemption for her, even though she's not living with you. Now, that'll let you claim a medical expense deduction for any medical costs that you pay on her behalf. Your mother may also be eligible to have Medicaid pay her costs. So take note in this. Payments from Medicaid and Social Security count as support from other sources when determining whether you provide major support. Now, if you need more details on this, just go to the IRS publication 501, and it'll answer most of those questions for you, and you'll be glad that you did that. My last email today comes from Jaden Nallo from Fort Collins, Colorado. He's asking about injured spouse status. It's a lady. And she says, my husband was hit with a back tax bill dating from before our marriage. I'm told that the IRS can take my tax refund to pay his tax debt if we file a joint return. Should I file separately? Good question, Jaden, and here's the deal. There's a better alternative. Claim innocent or injured spouse status by filing IRS Form 8379, that's injured spouse allocation, with your joint tax return. This protects the portion of the tax refund on your joint return that's allocable to you from being taken by the IRS to pay your husband's tax debt. Now, filing separate returns will actually increase the tax rates that you and your husband pay without reducing his tax debt at all, and so would likely cost you rather than save you money. So you want to keep that in mind all the time. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Blog Talk Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide, every single Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. I also broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio and Live 365 Radio every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. And please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with here on our show. On my next show, my expert contributor is David Garrett in his Legal Corner, and my special guest is Dr. Stephen Tidwell with his series, Tomorrow's Dentistry Today. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza. Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to come back and visit me again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific Time for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. In the meantime, stay happy, stay safe, be good, and have a wonderful evening. Good night, everybody.